Something big just happened in Iran. Listen to this.
Breaking news, and this is big. The president just put this on Truth Social. Here's what he says. Iran has just announced that the strait is fully open and ready for full passage.
This is Market 112. We will be escorting you for the next port of call.
And the UAE is declaring victory over Iran. An official writing here, yes, Iran lost. And yes, the UAE won. We were subjected to more than 2,800 Iranian missiles and drones, and we shot down 96% of them.
You heard it right there. Everyone's saying Iran has lost and it's over. But this is only a ceasefire.
The American role after this war will be greater. This Emirati and Gulf partnership with Washington came after long years of relations, mutual trust, and
it's
joint
a good
investments.
partnership.
Now, back live here on the Gulf, we are, of course, monitoring the potential for a second round of peace talks.
A lot of things popping by the hour. Just on the map over here, we'll just take you back to the Persian Gulf. This has been the area of the interest,
is all
really,
free now
for the entire world for the past 48 days. When I show you this on the map now, these are the vessels in the Persian Gulf, all right? So in red, since the start of the war, these are the vessels that have been basically at a standstill in the Gulf, off the coast of Bosphorus.
This is all going to open up now.
Off the coast of Kuwait, many off of Saudi Arabia. Look how much they're bunched up around the United Arab Emirates. I mean, just so many of these ships have been stuck here. I want to swing over here.
Now, the crazy thing about this is everyone said, Trump's not going to figure this out. He's not going to get it right. He's got no plan. This isn't our war. We've heard everything from the naysayers, and they've all been wrong.
Yesterday, the president announced that 10-day ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel. In an update from Israel minutes ago, an official says the IDF remains in Lebanon to hold all the locations it has cleared and captured. The IDF writing, the goal we defined, the disarmament of Hezbollah through military or political means, was and remains the campaign's objective to which we are committed.
The strait secured, Iran's dead and broke. But Democrats say we can't afford to win.
Stevie Wonder can even see how much this is costing us. So gas prices are going up. It's almost $10 in California. And fertilizer is going up. I mean, you name it, the prices have gone up. And this dude, Dr. Jesus, is wanting to spend $2 billion of your money every single day rather than help you get health care.
I mean... What?
And look
the
who's
war's
back.
over.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala.
Now that she's pumping her own gas, she cares about the price.
Since the start of Trump's war of choice, it's $15 more every time you fill up your tank of gas. The price of diesel has now gone up 80% since the start of the war. And you best believe that's going to carry over to how much you're paying for all the goods that are being transported on those
These
semis.
people are
We've
so
got a
wrong.
president who is paying more attention to what he thinks is in his best political interest and personal interest, as opposed to what is in the best interest of working people in America.
I don't know about that.
Gas is still cheaper now than it was under the Biden highs.
And it's about to get a lot cheaper because this whole area of the world where the oil comes from is now going to open up. And since oil's priced in US dollars, oil flowing freely means the price is going to crater. And look at this. It's going to be great news for NATO, for our allies, who Trump says he got a call from them now that the strait is opening up, and he told them to stay out of this whole situation. He doesn't need their help.
Now they all of a sudden want to send things, But they said it loud and clear
He
at the
called
beginning when I spoke to UK of all. I would have said they would have been the first because they're the oldest. And I say, yeah, I'd love to have a little help. He said, no, sir, we'd rather wait till you win.
Oh, my goodness.
I said, I don't need help after we win.
Right.
They have 2 old broken aircraft carriers, barely work. I called the general. He didn't even want them. He said, we don't really need them. We got the SS Abraham Lincoln, sir. We don't need them.
Yeah, what a joke. This whole thing, all the opposition to this has been, we got politicians in America saying that America's going to lose. We got the rest of the world hoping we lose. But right on schedule, here come our allies.
49 countries around a very simple message and proposition that the world needs the Strait of Hormuz fully open, because that is how we keep prices down for our people and stop the global economic damage. So we've all agreed there was real unity in the meeting that we've just had. We want to see a return to talks and a lasting agreement, including the reopening of the strait. We welcome
the unity come
that was made during our meeting but we need to make sure that that is both lasting and a workable proposal. And if anything, it reinforces.
Now, how are you going to do that with 2 broken aircraft carriers and 0 courage? That's the question that I have. And you better believe that the president would have got out there and said that this thing was over, that the strait is open, if it wasn't the case. This is the best news possible for NATO. But listen to them act like they've actually accomplished something.
It's the need for the work that we've been doing this afternoon, because we're very clear that the mission that we're putting together is a defensive mission, and that comes after a ceasefire. So,
after a ceasefire.
That's why we brought the international group together to indicate how we will play our part. And there are a number of elements. First, to deliver the diplomatic push for peace based on the fundamental principle that the strait should be reopened immediately with no tolls and no restrictions. And there was absolute unity on those points across all of the states attending today. And that transcends the other differences that countries who are with us this afternoon may have, because the whole world needs to see a solution.
Yeah, except it wasn't our war. Except the only solution that was acceptable to the rest of the world was for America to lose, for America to be taken down a peg because they hate our president so much, even when he's out there fighting for lower gas prices, not just in America, but everywhere. It's not our war. We don't want anything to do with it. These people are a joke.
Necessary trade restrictions, supporting energy and food security.
Which you weren't doing.
And supporting industry so that shipping can resume as soon as conditions permit. Thirdly, and crucially, we agreed to accelerate our military planning.
Oh,
I can confirm that along with France, the UK will lead a multinational mission to protect freedom of navigation as soon as conditions allow.
Wow.
This will be strictly peaceful and defensive as a mission to reassure commercial shipping and support mine clearance.
So, they're ready to go right into the heart of the action and free everything up as long as there's nothing to free up and there's 0 threat and there's no possible way our broken aircraft carriers are going to be in harm's way. But now the question is, what about Iran's nukes? What's going to happen with them?
President Trump answering questions at the White House about the war with Iran and specifically the status of Tehran's enriched uranium.
What are we going to do about that?
That the United States wants back.
They have it.
Iran does not have a nuclear weapon, and they've agreed to that. Iran's agreed to that, and they've agreed to it very powerfully. They've agreed to give us back the nuclear dust that's way underground because of the attack we made with the B-2 bomber. So we have a lot of agreement with Iran.
They're surrendering, man.
President Trump also saying Iran has agreed to almost everything, including giving up their nuclear ambitions.
Look at that.
Well, listen, Bill and Dana, what's happening here, you really cannot overstate the implications of what this blockade means to Iran and the incredible amount of leverage we hold now. I mean, President Trump has doubled down here on the Iranians, and we hold the entire economy and future of Iran literally in the hands of this blockade. We can absolutely cripple the economic viability of this country if this blockade holds. And the negotiations that we've seen earlier in the week and last weekend compared to where we are now are very, very different. I would expect the Iranians at some point here are going to come forward and surrender much of what we want.
And so they already have. But it's important to understand that while so many people in America have been flat out wrong about what was going to happen here, that people could see that the president's plan to blockade this country was the end game. It was over the second we said, you know what, this strait is shut and America's shutting it. But just before we continue, here's something that's been bothering me a lot lately. We're feeding AI platforms our deepest thoughts, our financial information, our business ideas, our plans for the future, even our health concerns, and we're just supposed to trust these platforms. OpenAI literally has a former director of the National Security Agency sitting on its board of directors right now. And these companies, they're all planning to monetize the conversations we have with their systems. Plus, they're even requiring government ID now to use some of their models. And they censor everything and redirect you when you ask basic questions without giving you the truth. I don't know about you. This is not the future that I signed up for. And that's why I started using Venice.ai. Venice is a private, uncensored artificial intelligence alternative. Your prompts stay on your device, not on their servers. No surveillance, no ID required, no artificial guardrails telling you what you can and cannot ask. Plus, Venice AI runs open source models, so you're not locked into some company's corporate agenda. You can generate images, analyze documents, ask private health questions, and even generate artificial intelligence characters, all of it private on your device. Nobody's spying on what you're doing and then reselling it to somebody else. And what's really cool is Venice AI's free accounts get solid daily limits. And if you want to go further, their pro plans give you unlimited text and way more images. If you want an AI that actually respects you, follow the link right here and go to venice.ai/cash and use code CASH for 20% off the pro plan. That's venice.ai/cash, code CASH. Links will be in the description of this video so you can stop feeding surveillance machines. Give Venice a try today. Now let's get back to the video.
I would expect the Iranians at some point here are going to come forward and surrender much of what we want, and we should get everything.
Yes, we should.
Certainly, we take away the enriched uranium.
That's happening.
There's no enrichment whatsoever. They dismantle all the rest of their nuclear enterprise.
Yep.
There is no moratorium. Even take that off the table.
Yeah, just
completely.
never
moratorium
have nukes.
of when they can get a nuclear weapon. Makes no sense. If you don't want a nuclear state now, why would you want one and permit one to have us in a subsequent presidency? It makes no sense.
Right.
And obviously, restriction on ballistic missiles, no support for proxies.
Yep.
And the list goes on.
Which would be Hezbollah
and
in Lebanon.
Should add it to that list. They understand how far back on their heels they are. We don't unfreeze their assets. At a minimum, it's $27 billion. I think it's much more than that. Remember, Obama did this over the nuclear deal in 2015.
It's almost like the same people who supported that deal, which preserved the regime over here and preserved their military, are the same people that came out and said, oh, America doesn't have a chance. Oh, it's over. Trump's just messing with the American people. He's on some personal crusade here, as if Trump is George Bush.
If we had had a nuclear Iran armed to the teeth, they'd blackmail the Middle East. We would have had sky-high gas prices for generations.
And people don't think about that.
We dealt with that, and now they're coming down. The stock market just hit another fresh high, and corporate earnings are on fire.
Wow.
So's manufacturing.
Yeah, we were told Trump destroyed the economy.
2.5 times what we expected. We're looking for a number around 10. Empire yesterday was quite strong as well. 26.7. Wow. That would be the best level since January of 25, since Jan of 25.
Energy prices are still too high, but Trump's brought them down before. He controls OPEC, brought Venezuelan crude back online, and is bringing Operation Epic Fury to the finish line, right on time. One of the cleanest and decisive missions in military history.
And that's the other thing. We've been told that, oh, Trump has no plan. He's putting Americans at risk, and he doesn't even know what he's doing. That's what people told us. Yet this operation has been even more successful than Desert Storm, for crying out loud. They are going to rewrite the history books of modern military warfare with what happened right here and how successful it was. And don't even forget, we had pilots that were shot down, that were stranded in enemy territory, but we had total superiority over the entire country. We were able to go get those pilots and pull them out. That's a historic first as well.
But you wouldn't know that if you watched something other than primetime.
Right,
Seth
because they're lying.
The press to the Pharisees in the Bible. Watch.
The Pharisees.
The Pharisees came to watch. And as the scripture reads, they came to see whether he, Jesus, would heal him, or he would heal him on the Sabbath, so that they might accuse him. Their hearts were hardened. Even though they witnessed a literal miracle, it didn't matter. They were only there to explain away the goodness in pursuit of their agenda.
Yep. And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to say, oh, Trump, yeah, you know, this thing might be over, but Trump got lucky. That was never his plan. That's what they're going to tell us. They're going to tell us that Trump had some different plan that they're going to make up. And they're going to say that by accident, this all just happened to work out for reasons that had nothing to do with Trump. They're going to try to take the credit away from Trump. And then they're going to try to say that if it wasn't for them back here in America putting pressure on the president, things wouldn't have worked out, and that's why you should vote for them.
In church, and I thought, our press are just like these Pharisees. Your politically motivated animus for President Trump nearly completely blinds you from the brilliance of our American warriors.
Right. This has been a great plan.
The media wasn't feeling the Holy Spirit.
No.
I don't know what to say other than grow up. Get a grip.
Look at these people.
It is just shocking.
What a warped view of what the news media is supposed to do, and what a view he seems to have of
they're
this
so
war.
angry.
He compared journalists scrutinizing the war, something journalists have done to every administration that uses military force, to attacks on Jesus in the Bible.
Right.
Of course, reporters should ask questions. It's a war. There's a lot at stake.
Yeah.
And politicians have lied about war before, so you got to be skeptical.
Yep.
But at the same time, reporters should follow the facts.
And the facts were that we were winning the entire time, that on the first day, the first hour, the first 10 minutes of this Operation Epic Fury, Iran had no air defenses at all. All their radars were knocked out. Their Air Force was obliterated. Within 24 hours, their Navy ceased to exist, and all their missile sites were getting wiped out. So their ability to threaten the United States, to threaten Israel, to threaten their Gulf neighbors was taken down so far that what we saw was nothing compared to what was predicted. Remember what was predicted? An onslaught never before seen, a rain of ruin from the heavens launched by Iran at the entire world. We better not touch them. We better leave them alone. The United States can't win this thing. We're going to fail. They got missiles. They got all this Russian and Chinese stuff that they're going to wipe us out with. That's what we were told to believe, and none of it was true. And the worst part is, we were told that Trump did not want a diplomatic solution to this, which was brought about by the total blockade of this strait by the United States.
And I think it's much more than that. Remember, Obama did this over the nuclear deal in 2015, close to $100 billion. Why don't we do that? We don't want to give them a lifeline. This isn't about face saving. The only thing we're not asking them to do is sign a surrender document. That is the leverage that we have here. And if we're going to do sanction relief, we don't even think about doing sanction relief until they prove to us over time that their behavior has fundamentally changed.
And none of this requires
that really
fighting.
Is the issue, because we have to hold them to that. What they say and what they are wanting to sign is one thing. What they actually do is quite something else, because they lie and they cheat.
Yep.
President Trump gets all of this. He knows the leverage he has. Negotiations, back channel going on right now as we speak. Maybe more formal negotiations coming.
Now remember, all of this happened after what? After a massive bombing campaign like Linebacker 2 over Vietnam? No, absolutely not. All of this happened after the ceasefire. So the ceasefire happens, and now they're surrendering. Now they're giving up. Why? Because we've got the total blockade.
Well, to say that the Iranian leadership is fragmented, it is something of an understatement. And certainly the negotiation team that we were dealing with in Pakistan was checking constantly with leadership back in Tehran. And I don't think we have a good feel for exactly who all the players are, or maybe more accurately, who actually is calling the shots. I think we know who the players are. There's 2 or 3 others back in Tehran in addition to the negotiating team. So yes, but there are back channels going on, and I think our senior people involved, and likely the president himself is involved in some of this.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going behind the scenes, and that's where it should be. It shouldn't be out here in the public domain. And I think there's some very serious negotiations that will likely take place because of this leverage that we have now. The Iranians did not anticipate that the president was going to double down on them and take everything that they value away from them.
They had no idea.
We are talking about most of their entire revenue source is now in United States control.
Right.
Think about the fundamental implications of what that means.
It's over. It means it's
yes,
over.
The leverage here is significant. I would like to see it end because we have all of this leverage as soon as possible. In other words, with a preliminary agreement, because the pressure is on them, and I think we should keep that pressure on them as much as possible.
And you know something? It's going to be very interesting to see what happens early next week, because the ceasefire is supposed to expire. You heard it right there, Tuesday. So when the ceasefire expires, is there going to be one faction of this regime that decides to launch some sort of attack? Will Hezbollah and Lebanon launch some sort of attack against Israel that then triggers a confrontation there? And then Iran's regime says, hey, you know what? The ceasefire's broken. We're going to go back to war. Are they going to do any of that? Are they stupid enough to do that while the entire revenue stream for the entire country is cut off and they cannot recover or wage anything while the U.S. has the strait under its control? Let me know. I'll see you in the next video.